Have you ever watched a horror movie and felt a genuine, creeping sense of dread? Like what you're seeing could actually be real? I'm not talking about the kind of jump scares that make you spill your popcorn. I'm talking about a deep, unsettling fear that lingers long after the credits roll. Chances are, you are watching a found footage film. From the Blair Witch Project to Paranormal Activity and Rec, this subgenre has a unique power to blur the lines between fiction and reality. But why? What is it about shaky cameras, unknown actors, and low-budget effects that makes these movies so terrifyingly effective? Today, we re-diving deep into the illusion of authenticity and uncovering the psychological tricks that make found footage horror feel so real. First, let's define what we're talking about. Found footage is a filmmaking style where all or a substantial part of the film is presented as discovered video recordings. The events on screen are typically seen through the camera of one or more of the characters involved, who are often filming a documentary, a home video, or just messing around. This immediately creates a sense of intimacy and unlike a traditional film, there's no omniscient director guiding our view with perfectly framed shots and dramatic music. Instead, we are dropped directly into the characters' perspectives. We see what they see, hear what they hear, and crucially, we only know what they know. This limitation is the genre's greatest strength. The camera becomes our only window into their world. And when that window is shaky, dark, or suddenly drops to the ground, our own sense of security shatters with it. Think about the Blair Witch Project, the film that truly launched the genre into the mainstream. Part of its genius was its marketing. The filmmakers created a website with fake police reports and interviews, building a mythology that convinced many people the footage was real. The actors were unknown. Their dialogue was largely improvised, and they were genuinely lost and sleep-deprived in the woods. This rawness translated directly to the screen. When Heather Donahue delivers her tearful, iconic monologue, it doesn't feel like a performance. It feels like a real person confronting their own mortality. We believe her fear because, on some level, it was genuine. This is the first key. Found footage strips away the polish of Hollywood. The lack of a musical score means there are no cues to tell us when to be scared. The silence and ambient noise, the rustling of leaves, a distant snap of a twig become infinitely more terrifying because our brains interpret them as real-world sounds, not manufactured sound effects. This technique taps into a powerful psychological bias. We are conditioned to see home videos and amateur recordings as records of truth. When you watch a friend's vacation video, you don't question its authenticity. Found footage cleverly hijacks this ingrained trust. The choppy editing, the moments where the camera is accidentally pointed at the ground, the characters speaking over each other, these are all markers of amateur filmmaking that our brains associate with reality. A film like Paranormal Activity mastered this. The entire movie is presented through static security cameras. The long, silent takes of a suburban bedroom at night are initially boring, but they lull us into a state of surveillance. We become conditioned to the mundane, so when a door creaks open on its own or a sheet is pulled off the bed, the violation of that mundane reality is profoundly disturbing. It suggests that horror isn't just in haunted castles or remote cabins. It can invade the most familiar and supposedly safe space of all, your own home. Another crucial element is the way these films handle the unknown. In traditional horror, we often get a clear look at the monster. We might learn its backstory, its motives, its weaknesses, but in found footage, the threat is almost always obscured. In Cloverfield, we only get fleeting, chaotic glimpses of the giant monster. In the Blair Witch Project, we never see the witch at all. Our imagination is forced to fill in the blanks, and what we can conjure in our own minds is often far more terrifying than any CGI creature a filmmaker could create. The camera's limited point of view becomes our limited point of view. When a character runs, the camera whips around wildly, and we are just as disoriented. When they hide in a closet and point a lens through a crack in the door, we are right there with them, holding our breath, straining to see what's lurking in the darkness. This shared vulnerability creates an incredibly strong bond between the audience and the characters. We're not just watching them, we're experiencing the horror alongside them. The performance style in found footage is also key. The actors are often encouraged to improvise, which leads to more natural, overlapping, and realistic dialogue. They don't speak in perfectly crafted monologues. They interrupt each other. Te. They stumble over their words, just like real people do in moments of high stress. This realism makes their fear contagious. When a character in Rec starts to hyperventilate with terror, that physiological reaction can trigger a similar response in the viewer. We empathize with them on a primal level. The chaos feels unscripted and therefore more believable. The camera operator is often a character themselves, and their breathing, their panicked whimpers, and their shaky hands holding the camera become part of the film's soundscape, immersing us even further. Furthermore, the genre cleverly justifies its own existence. There's always a reason the camera is still rolling, even when things get dangerous. The characters in the Blair Witch Project are film students determined to make their documentary. In Rec, it's a journalist who insists that people need to see what's happening. This meta-narrative, the story of Asterisk, why Asterisk, this footage exists, adds another layer of belief. It answers the audience's question of why would they keep filming. The camera becomes a shield, a tool for documentation, or a desperate attempt to make sense of an insane situation. In the film Creep, the act of filming is central to the antagonist's psychological manipulation, making the camera an active participant in the horror. Of course, the genre isn't without its pitfalls. For every masterpiece, there are a dozen cheap imitations that use shaky cam as a crutch to hide a weak story or a low budget. The why are they still filming problem can sometimes break the immersion if it is not handled cleverly. But when it's done right, found footage achieves a level of immersion that few other genres can match. It breaks the fourth wall, not by winking at the audience, but by pretending the fourth wall was never there to begin with. It presents itself as a raw, unfiltered artifact from a horrifying event. So, the next time you're re-watching a found footage movie and you feel that familiar knot of anxiety in your stomach, you'll know why. It's not just the jump scares, it's the stripped-down realism, the exploitation of our trust in amateur video, the power of suggestion over spectacle, and the terrifying intimacy of sharing a character's final moments. These films don't just show us horror. They make us feel like we're living it. They hold up a distorted mirror to our own world. A world saturated with cameras, and ask us, if this happened, isn't this exactly what it would look like? And that question is perhaps the most frightening thing of all. What's your favorite found footage film? Let me know in the comments below what movie genuinely made you question if it was real. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content. See you next time.